Imagine walking out of the only life you've ever known, slavery in a foreign land, with nothing but faith and the hope of freedom. Behind you, the most powerful empire on earth is in pursuit. Ahead of you lies a desert filled with uncertainty. This is the story of the Exodus, a journey of miracles, rebellion, laws written by the very hand of God, and the promise of a land flowing with milk and honey. Stay with me as we walk with Moses and the Israelites from the Red Sea to the edge of the Promised Land. The people of Israel had finally left Egypt, but Pharaoh had a change of heart. With his army of 600 chariots, he pursued them to the edge of the sea. Trapped between water and war, the Israelites cried out in fear. They challenged Moses, saying, "Why did you bring us out of Egypt? You could have left us to serve the Egyptians. Now we are going to die here." But Moses declared in Exodus 14:13, "Do not be afraid. Stand firm, and you will see the deliverance the Lord will bring you today. For the Egyptians you see today, you shall see no more." Moses stretched out his staff, and God drove back the waters with a mighty wind. A wall of water rose on their right and on their left. The Israelites walked through on dry ground, a miracle never seen before. When Pharaoh's army followed, God caused the waters to collapse, drowning them. The people sang with joy, led by Moses and Miriam, his sister. The song read, "The Lord is my strength and my defense. He has become my salvation." From slavery to freedom, the Exodus had truly begun. 3 days into the desert, the people faced thirst. At Marah, the waters were bitter. The people complained to Moses again, expressing that they'd die from drinking bitter water.
But the Lord showed Moses a piece of wood, and when he threw it into the water, it became sweet. God was teaching them to trust his provision. Soon hunger struck. They grumbled, remembering Egypt's food, again wishing that they were still under their Egyptian masters. At the very least, they'd have had food. But God answered. Each morning, bread from heaven appeared on the ground, and the Israelites called it manna. Exodus 16:31 describes it as white like coriander seed and tasted like wafers made with honey. At twilight, quail covered the camp. God provided daily, reminding them to depend on him, not their own strength. God gave instructions that when the bread and quails fall from heaven, the Israelites should only gather as much as they needed for only 1 day. Manna, which is bread, should be gathered for breakfast in the morning when it falls, and quail, which is meat, should be gathered for supper when it falls. The Bible explains that manna looked like coriander seed, white in color, and it tasted like wafers with milk and honey. This would have been grand in this day too. Not more than a day's food for God would provide for each day, but they didn't listen. They went out and packed double the portions, thinking they could outsmart God, but the excess they gathered turned to maggots and stunk the next day. Moses was furious with them for disobeying God. God reiterated his instructions to Moses, saying, "Every day, you should gather as much as you need for 1 day, except for the 6th day. On the 6th day, you can gather twice as much, because on the 7th day, which is the Sabbath, thou shalt not work, not the maid, nor thy camels, nor you shall work. So gather twice the portion so that you will have enough for 2 days." When they gathered double the manna and quails on the 6th day, they ate the portion for the 6th day and remained for the 7th day. To their shock, that extra didn't spoil, stink, or even bring maggots. Moses explained to them that this was God's instruction, otherwise it would have spoiled. And Moses said, "This is the thing which the Lord commandeth. Fill an omer of it to be kept for your generations, that they may see the bread wherewith I have fed you in the wilderness, when I brought you forth from the land of Egypt." And Moses said unto Aaron, "Take a pot, and put an omer full of manna therein, and lay it up before the Lord, to be kept for your generations." And the children of Israel did eat manna 40 years, until they came to a land inhabited. They did eat manna, until they came unto the borders of the land of Canaan. Now an omer is the 10th part of an ephah. Now an omer is an ancient Israelite unit of measurement equivalent to 43 eggs in today's world. They traveled some more, And again, the people quarreled for water. They said to Moses, "Did you bring us out of Egypt so we could die of thirst in the wilderness?" Moses cried to God, fearing they might stone him, for they were an impatient set of people. They took every opportunity to question God and his servant Moses. To this, God instructed Moses, "Strike the rock at Horeb, and water will come out for the people to drink." And living water flowed from a solid rock, a miracle pointing to God's life-giving power. Soon after, Amalek attacked the Israelites. Now Amalek was the grandson of Esau, and Esau was the twin brother of Jacob, who the Lord renamed Israel. Jacob was the ancestor of all the Israelites traveling with Moses in the wilderness. If you recall, Jacob deceived his twin brother Esau and stole his blessing from their father, and Esau swore to kill his brother Jacob for his treachery. Jacob fled, and 20 years later, the twin brothers reconciled, but maybe the descendants still held grudges, as Amalek would display here. Joshua led Israel's army, while Moses stood on a hill, hands lifted in prayer. When his hands were raised, Israel prevailed. When he grew weary, Amalek gained ground. Aaron and Hur supported his hands until sunset, and Israel won. Victory came not by might, but by prayer and God's power. 3 months after leaving Egypt, Israel camped at Mount Sinai. Thunder roared, lightning flashed, and a thick cloud covered the mountain. The ground trembled as the sound of a trumpet grew louder. Exodus 19:18 says, "Mount Sinai was covered with smoke, because the Lord descended on it in fire. And Moses went up unto God, and the Lord called unto him out of the mountain, saying, Thus shalt thou say to the house of Jacob, and tell the children of Israel, Ye have seen what I did unto the Egyptians, and how I bare you on eagle's wings, and brought you unto myself. Now therefore, if ye will obey my voice indeed, and keep my covenant, then ye shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people, for all the earth is mine. And ye shall be unto me a kingdom of priests and an holy nation. These are the words which thou shalt speak unto the children of Israel." And Moses came and called for the elders of the people, and laid before their faces all these words which the Lord commanded him. And all the people answered together and said, All that the Lord hath spoken we will do. And Moses returned the words of the people unto the Lord. On Mount Sinai God gave his covenant. From the mountain his voice thundered the 10 Commandments. 1. I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. 2. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image, or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. For I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the 3rd and 4th generation of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. 3. Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain, for the Lord will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain. 4. 6 days shalt thou labor, and do all thy work, but the 7th day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. It's never, in it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that in them is, and rested the 7th day. Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day, and hallowed it. 5. Honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. 6. Thou shalt not kill. 7. Thou shalt not commit adultery. 8. Thou shalt not steal. 9. Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. 10. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his ass, nor anything that is thy neighbor's. In summary, these are the 10 Commandments. 1. You shall have no other gods before me. 2. You shall not make idols. 3. You shall not misuse the name of the Lord. 4. Remember the Sabbath day. 5. Honor your father and mother. 6. You shall not murder. 7. You shall not commit adultery. 8. You shall not steal. 9. You shall not give false testimony. 10. You shall not covet. The people trembled in fear, saying, "Speak to us yourself, Moses, and we will listen, but do not have God speak to us, or we will die." The holy God had revealed his will. But as Moses remained on the mountain for 40 days, the people grew impatient. They said to Aaron, "Make us gods who will go before us." Aaron fashioned a golden calf from their jewelry, and the people bowed to it, celebrating idolatry. God's anger burned, ready to destroy them. But Moses interceded. "Turn from your fierce anger. Relent and do not bring disaster on your people." Moses descended from the mount, broke the tablets of stone where God had written the 10 Commandments, and destroyed the idol. Later, he went again before God, begging forgiveness because his anger had overtaken him. In mercy, God renewed his covenant. He revealed his glory to Moses, declaring in Exodus 34:6, "The Lord, the compassionate and gracious God, slow to anger, abounding in love and faithfulness." Even in failure, God's grace shone brighter. God gave detailed instructions for a sanctuary, the tabernacle, where his presence would dwell. The people gave generously to build it: gold, silver, bronze, fabrics, and precious stones. Skilled artisans crafted the Ark of the Covenant, the lampstand, and the altar. When the work was finished, Exodus 40:34 records, "Then the cloud covered the tent of meeting, and the glory of the Lord filled the tabernacle." Imagine the creator of heaven and earth chose to live among his people, guiding them with a pillar of cloud by day and fire by night. The wilderness was not easy. Time and again, the people grumbled. They longed for Egypt's food, and God sent quail, but also judgment. Even Moses' own siblings, Miriam and Aaron, opposed him. Miriam was struck with leprosy until Moses prayed for her healing. When they reached the border of Canaan, 12 spies went to scout the land. 10 returned fearful, saying, "We seem like grasshoppers in our own eyes." Only Joshua and Caleb trusted God. Israel's unbelief led to 40 years of wandering, 1 year for each day the spies searched. During those years, God still provided. Manna never ceased, their clothes never wore out. In Numbers 21, when serpents attacked the camp, God told Moses to raise a bronze serpent on a pole. Whoever looked at it lived. As the 40 years ended, Moses prepared Israel for the land ahead. He charged Joshua with leadership. "Be strong and courageous, for the Lord your God goes with you." Deuteronomy 31:6. He read the law once more, reminding the people of God's faithfulness. He sang a song of warning and blessing, then blessed each tribe. Finally, Moses climbed Mount Nebo. From its heights, God showed him the land flowing with milk and honey, the promised land, though he would not enter as God had told him. Deuteronomy 34:5 tells us, "Moses, the servant of the Lord, died there in Moab, as the Lord had said." God buried him in Moab, but to this day no one knows where his grave is. Moses' story ended, but the promise continued. Joshua would lead the people into Canaan, fulfilling God's covenant. The Exodus story is not just Israel's journey, it's ours too. From bondage to freedom, from fear to faith, from wandering to promise. We too face deserts, temptations, and trials. But the same God who parted the Red Sea, who provided manna, who gave his word on Sinai, and who guided his people, is still faithful today. The Exodus reminds us we are never alone in the wilderness. God goes before us, behind us, and with us until we reach the promised land. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more Bible stories told in powerful and engaging ways.